I became a pervert and reached the pinnacle of life. Introduction. Before transmigrating, the system allowed us to choose skills. Because of a sneeze, I chose pervert between becoming strong and beautiful. Because of me praising the demon lord's feet as white and soft, the demon lord no longer went barefoot. As for me, thanks to pervert, I reached the pinnacle of life. The system chose me and 2 other girls. Before we crossed over, the system allowed us to choose skills. Little Red chose to become beautiful, Little White chose to become strong. While I was hesitating, I suddenly sneezed, and so I chose to become a pervert. Me? Can I choose again? System, host, rest assured, each skill is very useful. Host, do you have any questions? I said, first of all, I'm not teasing you guys. Before I could finish, we were kicked into the book. After a moment of dizziness, I slowly woke up. Can anyone tell me why we're hanging upside down in the main hall like this? On the throne of the main hall, there was a cold man, his whole body filled with evil energy, wearing red clothes, with long black hair hanging down. This appearance seems to be the great villain Ma Tun Tu Trong in the book. We are now, could it be the 23rd scene, when Ma Tun chooses the maid in the palace? We are the insiders of the Huan Mon sect, infiltrate here, then get discovered and interrogated? Oh my god, I remember in this scene all the characters are killed. Xiao Hong and Xiao Bai who are hanging on the side have not yet received the plot, only to see Xiao Trong wave his hand. There is a bull-faced man holding a whip and whip us. Little Hong's face is full of tears, hoo. Little Bai is majestic, if you can, then let me down to fight. Me? How comfortable, Little Hong. Little Bai. Bull-faced man secretly takes a step back. I can't cry, I don't want to, but I am a pervert. Perhaps Xiao Bai's words worked. Xiao Zhong ordered us to be put down, then he walked barefoot, slowly walking towards us step by step. Hoarse voice, you dare to invade my demon temple, so be prepared. Xianmen sect sent 3 gifts, I will definitely kill you beautifully and send them back. Xiao Bai whispered, don't we have skills? Use them. After speaking, Xiao Hong stepped forward, faltered, and fell weakly into the arms of the demon lord, intending to use her beauty to conquer him. Xiao Zhong immediately waved his hand and threw her out, feed the monster fish. Xiao Bai angrily rushed forward and used force, but was immediately strangled by Xiao Zhong, used as fertilizer. I quietly asked the system, what will happen if I die? System, you are already dead in the real world, if you die in this book, you will just disappear, but if you complete the mission, influence the demon lord, and save all living beings, you will have a chance to be reborn. Xiao Zhong looked at me from above, Humph, what are you thinking again? I trembled, really have to say it? If you don't say it, I'll kill you right away. Your feet are so white, so soft. I couldn't help but sniff. This damn system, I only think about it in my head, I really don't want to say it out loud. The naked eye can see, Xiao Zhong retracted his leg into his robe. Immediately after that, he angrily roared, cut her into 8 pieces. I quickly hugged his leg, Ma Tun. I'm not a spy, I came here to surrender. I'm really fed up with the righteous people. I see you handsome and dashing, with extraordinary temperament, you're the one who leads the world. Xiao Zhong sneered, handsome and dashing? Even when killing people, handsome and dashing? Me? No, when not wearing clothes. Xiao Zhong. My damn mouth. Xiao Zhong grabbed my chin, you said you want to surrender, then prove it. Proving that I'm not on the side of the righteous, this is easy. I opened my mouth and cursed the ancestors and descendants of the sects, using all the vulgar words I know. The scolding made Xiao Zhong frown. The buffalo head patted my shoulder emotionally, stop scolding, it's too vulgar, I can't stand to listen anymore. Luckily, I managed to keep my life. Xiao Zhong said that he kept me because he still needed me, and so I was thrown into the chore room. I was so tired that I fell asleep immediately. When I woke up, I transformed into a white cat. I said, system, explain. System, this is your skill, shape-shifting. Pervert, so that's what it was. That's not right. Then what about my perverted words? System was silent for a long time. That's just your nature. Don't say any more. He even cursed more vulgarly than me. Taking advantage of the darkness, I stretched out my cat body and strolled around the demon temple. This book was about the main character, the eldest disciple of the Xianmen sect, a typical story of cultivation, fighting monsters, and recruiting a harem in a male concubine novel. I was just a cannon fodder, a bit handsome, but before I could even enter the male lead's harem, I was killed as a spy. As for the great villain Xiao Zhong, the book described him as an innocent person with a vicious heart. But I noticed something important, a strong body and six-pack abs. I couldn't help but go take a look. When I climbed onto Xiao Zhong's roof, I slowly realized. It turned out that I was really a pervert. Just because of this thought, I accidentally slipped, a strong force suddenly grabbed my neck, pulling me down. After a whirlwind of heaven and earth, I fell into the water. Meow. I let out a miserable cry, and jumped out of the water, seeing two solid chest muscles. The gaze moved up, it was Tu Trong's gaze. Cat? A low-level demon hurriedly rolled in. Ma, demon lord, spare my life, I will deal with this beast right away. He wanted to capture me. I struggled desperately, jumped into the water again, intending to step on the bottom of the lake, rushing up. But unexpectedly, I stepped on the wrong place. Only heard a groan. My entire cat body was lifted up again. Oh my. My cat, I have to take a bath. Xiao Zhong's face was a bit painful, as if he was trying to suppress something. The little demon beside him also did not dare to breathe loudly. In this heavy atmosphere, I used my small pink claws to start stomping on Xiao Zhong's chest. Meow, do you think this is a struggle before death? How naive. A cute little cat that is so cute that it explodes. So cute. Can you bear to kill it? Impossible, absolutely impossible. But then again, it feels really good. I stared at the place where my claws were stepping, a drop of saliva flowed down. I stretched out my claws to catch it but couldn't catch it in time, the water drops fell onto Tu Trong's hand. Let's eat meat tonight. Don't. Xiao Zhong was about to give me to the little demon. I immediately hugged his hand tightly, rubbing it to please him. Sure enough, Xiao Zhong stopped. He squinted his eyes at me. This cat seems to have spiritual energy. I nodded repeatedly. You step back, I'll deal with this cat. Once again, I saved my life. Wait. I clung to the door of the granary, refusing to go in. You said dealing with it meant catching mice? I didn't even have time to protest before I was thrown in. Half an hour later, when I was lifted out, I was holding a mouse in my hand and checking to see if it was male or female. The mouse suddenly transformed, turning into a big man hugging his chest and sobbing. I've never seen such a perverted cat in my life, it's too perverted. Xiao Zhong waved his hand, and the spirit mouse ran away from me. Tu Trong looked at me thoughtfully. Indeed, a lynx. A mouse spirit who has cultivated for 100 years and has been infected with your spiritual energy has been able to transform. He smiled softly, holding me in his arms. From now on, follow me. Just like that, Nganoyet Bok was promoted from a death row prisoner to become the pet of the demon lord, and was given the name Little White by him, then carried back to my room. At night, when Tu Trong needed to cultivate, I was put aside. Suddenly, I heard the system remind me, Host, this is a good opportunity, you have approached the demon lord, now you just need to gain his trust, influence him, then you can complete the mission. I lazily turned over. Who said I wanted to complete the mission? System, ? Laughing to death, how do you think I died in the real world? I died from overwork. It was already a given that my parents died early when I was young, and when I went to work, I was forced like a dog by my boss. What would I go back there for? I thought it over carefully. I would cling to the demon lord's thigh, the demon lord would eat my flesh and drink my soup, the demon lord would kill people and I would give him a knife. When Tu Trong unified the world, I would be his first subordinate. No, his subordinate cat. How wonderful. As for saving the world, well, whoever wants to save, save. The system was probably shocked, silent for a long time, probably discussing countermeasures with colleagues. I was still thinking, suddenly saw Xiaozhong glanced at me, then acted as if nothing happened and looked at me again. What is he going to do? Finally, he made a move. I felt the warning in my head ringing, only to see Xiaozhong walk to my side, reach out, then, squeeze my round belly. Me, 3 dots. Xiaozhong happily grinned, decisively picked me up, placed me on his lap and massaged me. I wanted to say, big brother, you're hiding it too well. Finally, he buried his face in my belly and took a breath. Sniff, I like it. At dawn, I suddenly felt uncomfortable, so I quickly climbed out of Xiaozhong's bed, ran across the roofs and returned to the maid's room. Sure enough, the next second I had returned to my original form. This metamorphosis process was just like menstruation, truly perverted. I slept for a while longer, and when I woke up, the demon housekeeper of the demon palace had brought the final results of my treatment. Xiaozhong said that he wanted to use a trick against me, keeping me to see what the Xianmen sect wanted to do. But the demon palace didn't keep idle people, so I became his little maid. On the first day of work, I found that Xiaozhong was in a slightly uneasy mood. I looked down and found that he was wearing shoes. So I secretly asked the bull-headed guy I had met before, what's wrong with the demon lord? Why are you suddenly wearing shoes? Bull-headed, tell me? Me, it's just wearing shoes, is there a need to be so upset? Ox head, it's sad because the pet that demon lord just received yesterday, when he woke up this morning, it was gone, he sent someone to look for it. TSK, he's about to get angry. I held back my laughter and asked, is this cat very important? Of course. Xiaozhong glanced over, how did you know it was a cat? I raised my hand and slapped Ox's head, he just let it slip, demon lord, didn't you hear? I told you a long time ago, he's not proactive in his work, he has a problem with his thinking, he's the one who often pulls me into chat, TSK, isn't this showing that he doesn't care about demon lord? The ox head was dragged out by someone, its eyes still fixed on me. I sympathetically raised a middle finger at him. Your grandmother, do you think I've forgotten about the hit yesterday? I hold grudges. Xiaozhong frowned, I quickly flattered, don't worry, demon lord, leave this cat to me, I've had a natural talent since I was young, I can talk to cats, I'll tell it to come back obediently tonight. Xiaozhong was half believing. I nodded in affirmation. Anyway, I had no other choice, perhaps due to the system's limitations, I could only transform into a cat at night. Finally, I waited until the sun set, before it was time to transform into a cat, I sneaked into Xiaozhong's bedroom. Xiaozhong was still discussing things with the demon generals, I had nothing to do so I stood in front of the mirror in his room and started admiring my beauty. I have to say, this face really suits my aesthetic taste. Just admiring it wasn't enough, I also posed, raised my tail, put my hands on my hips, and just as I was twisting, I turned my head, facing a graceful and charming beauty. She glared at me. I looked back at the mirror, I had transformed into a white cat. The beauty exclaimed in surprise, where did you come from, a demon? Do you know what's going on? I see, this is someone who came to use beauty tricks on Xiaozhong. Before I could finish speaking, Xiaozhong had already entered the room, I immediately threw myself into his arms. Meow, I rubbed my head hard against his neck, pretending to be frightened. Xiaozhong reassured me, then coldly looked at the beauty, who allowed you to enter my room? As soon as he finished speaking, 2 other demons came in and dragged the beauty out. The beauty unwillingly pointed at me, leaving a sentence, fuck. This cat is even more of a fox spirit than this old lady. I shrank in Xiaozhong's arms, sobbing softly. Xiaozhong seemed to be tickled by my rubbing, chuckled twice, and grabbed the flesh behind my neck. Where did you go today? I had nothing more to say. As a demon lord, how could he be so gentle? At night, I rolled around on Xiaozhong's abs, rubbing here, rubbing there, as if I had reached the peak of my life. Reality proves that a hardworking person cannot do 2 jobs at the same time, otherwise he will be mentally disturbed, just like me. That day, I was serving Xiaozhong in his cultivation, and finally a cycle ended. Xiaozhong was sweating profusely, reaching out for water. I was sleepy, thinking I was still a cat, so I licked him. The world suddenly became quiet. I immediately woke up. The demon lord stiffly said, "You have 2 seconds to explain." Me, "It's a bit sweet, I haven't tasted it yet, let me try again." The next second, I was sent flying. After that, I was locked in the dungeon. The dungeon was sealed, even cats couldn't get out. I decided to give up. A few days later, I was released. It was so funny, no one paid any attention to me, the entire demon hall was in chaos. I conveniently caught a butterfly that was running around in the yard. What's wrong? Did someone attack the demon hall? It's much more serious. The demon lord's beloved pet has been missing for many days, now both demons and ghosts are looking for the cat. The corners of my mouth unconsciously curled up. Look at my charm. At night, I transformed into a white cat again, and walked into Xiao Zhong's room, brazenly lying on his bed. Xiao Zhong walked in from outside the door, and when he saw me, he was stunned. As if he was afraid that I would run away, he slowly walked over, touched my belly, and said softly, "I thought even you were afraid of me, and wanted to run away from this place." I used my tail to sweep his waist. But because I had been imprisoned in the dungeon for several days, I decided to be cold to him. All night long, I kept my arrogant expression, not letting him pet me. Xiao Zhong was extremely confused. The next day, I explained, "What does Xiao Bai want to eat?" Xiao Zhong, "What to eat?" Steamed ham, braised pork, sweet and sour fish, steamed lamb, steamed bear paw, steamed deer tail, roast duck, roast chicken, roast goose, stewed pork, stewed duck, braised chicken, dried meat, sausage, floss, dried meat, Chinese sausage, all kinds of cakes. Xiao Zhong looked at me coldly. 5 months white, are you sure this is what it wants to eat? I nodded confidently, 1,000 times sure. That night, I had the most sumptuous meal since I transmigrated into the book. As a result, the next day I burped in front of Xiao Zhong. Xiao Zhong propped his head up and looked at me, his eyes darkening. What's wrong? Was my burping posture very seductive? So I burped in front of Xiao Zhong again. Very good, I went to the dungeon again. This time I was only locked up for a day and a night before being released. Xiao Zhong acted as if nothing had happened, continuing to keep me by his side to serve him, and at night he hugged me to sleep. Habits are really scary. After sleeping for a long time, even with my eyes closed, I can still accurately touch Tu Trong's left third abdominal muscle. My fairy life in the demon palace was finally disrupted when an uninvited guest arrived. The person who came was the demon lord, the second in command of the demon world, who had some conflicts with Xiao Zhong. I remember in the book that Xiao Zhong lost miserably because of his betrayal. Xiao Zhong did his job very well, and even held a banquet to entertain him, but the demon lord clearly came to cause trouble, and in the middle of the banquet, he even took off his shirt to show off his magic weapon, directly destroying Xiao Zhong's yard. In the end, he shook his 2 chest muscles. What do you think, demon lord? Ah. My eyes. Even I, a pervert, find you very perverted. Xiao Zhong didn't even look at him. You Bai, what do you think? He suddenly asked me. I was stunned, then sincerely said, I think, your chest muscles are not as well trained as our demon lord, those chest muscles, I didn't say it. Ah. Cough. Very good, that, your toilet is very good. The demon roared, this is the first-class magic weapon, the meteor hammer. Perhaps because I had embarrassed him, the demon repeatedly made things difficult for me, and finally forced me to dance on stage. I wanted to try it, but unexpectedly Xiao Zhong grabbed my hand. He frowned, very unhappy. Does this deity allow you to leave? I was unsure. What does the demon lord mean? Xiao Zhong, no. Yes. When the demon left, he was unhappy, and left behind a sentence, Xiao Zhong, you are arrogant and complacent, sooner or later you will regret it. The classic NPC prophecy replayed. I began to realize, even if I did nothing, the plot in the book would continue to unfold. And the next key detail was, the female lead Ling Yunlan came to the demon palace, the demon lord fell in love at first sight, and used force to take possession. I looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle. Is the system here? The system that had been silent for a long time finally spoke up. Host, have you thought it through? No, I just want to tell you something, I specially send a% at and asterisk. After scolding me, I felt relieved and unilaterally cut off communication. The Mary Sue heroine of this book, Ling Yunlan, chose a clear day to make her grand entrance. She carried a sword and rushed into the demon palace, questioning Xiao Zhong on what he had to do to release the fellow disciples of the Bai Qing sect that he had captured. At that time, I was standing next to Xiao Zhong holding a tray of fruit, and couldn't help but eat it. Xiao Zhong raised his hand and flicked my forehead. It will make others stupid, do you understand? If I remember correctly, Xiao Zhong fell in love with her at first sight. He made a request, asking Ling Yunlan to marry him, and he would release her. I sighed in my heart. The day of monopolizing the demon lord's bed had finally come to an end. Xiao Zhong said according to the script, release them too. You agree to one condition. Marry me as your wife. Just teach me how to cook fish. I'm sure I remembered something wrong, this is not like what was written in the book. Xiao Zhong really learned to cook fish, and he cooked for me. That night, looking at the slightly burnt fish on the table, I felt extremely complicated. Before, I seemed to have accidentally said in front of Xiao Zhong, the book says that Bai Qing sect's fish cooking is a great skill, I really want to try it. Who would have thought? Xiao Zhong went to learn it for me. He even arrogantly snorted, it's just cooking fish, it's as easy as turning your hand. Then he pushed the plate of fish towards me, I lowered my head and took a bite. It's very delicious, don't cook it again next time. Not long after Ling Yunlan left, the system gave me a piece of news, the seal of the ancient heroic sword Han Tianjian was about to be broken, the sects would send elites to seize the sword. Once they got it, they would go to the demon palace to attack Xiao Zhong. I remembered, Han Tianjian was Xiao Zhong's natural nemesis. No, my good days had just begun, Xiao Zhong absolutely could not die. The best way is to strike first. So I started to incite Xiao Zhong to go and steal the Han Tianjian. He lazily looked up at me, reason. The Han Tianjian is the world's most precious treasure. Don't you want it, Demon Lord? No. With the Han Tianjian, you can unify the three worlds. Not interested. Xiao Bai said he wanted to take a walk in the human world. Pack your luggage. A beauty, am I not even as good as a cat? I am jealous of myself. The place where the Han Tianjian was sealed is in the human world. Xiao Zhong said it was inconvenient to make a fuss, only leading Xiao Bai on the journey at night. That's right, he didn't intend to take me with him at all, right? Smiling slightly. The anger made me secretly use my claws to scratch his abs. His voice was hoarse, don't mess around. My cat face turned red. But I am a cat, why do I need face? So I rubbed against him for a while and then licked him. Xiao Zhong clearly stiffened, his body temperature rose, he grabbed my neck through his clothes, his voice even hoarse, Xiao Bai, don't mess around. Impossible. Having come to the human world, naturally I had to stay in a place where mortals live. That night, Xiao Zhong found an inn and threw me into the room, not knowing where to go. He returned in the middle of the night, his body full of cold air. I was sleeping soundly, suddenly being embraced by cold arms, unconsciously wanting to push away, but being held tightly, unable to escape. When the sky brightened, I felt hot, tossing and turning, my forehead accidentally brushing against Xiao Zhong's lips. Forehead. Forehead? I've turned into a human. Where are my clothes? Oh my god, I forgot. If Xiao Zhong finds out, wouldn't he cut me down right away? As soon as Xiao Zhong turned over, I tiptoed out of his arms, wrapped around his robe, and sneaked out. Halfway there, I suddenly stopped. Did Xiao Zhong just laugh? Looking again. No, I must have been wrong. When Xiao Zhong woke up, I pretended to appear in front of him by chance. It's like this, yesterday Xiao Bai appeared in my dream, saying that he couldn't live without me, so I came here. Xiao Zhong leisurely looked at me, a dream? Besides that, what else did you dream about? I thought for a moment, then held up 8 fingers, 8 salt abs. Shut up and follow me out. We went to the place where the Han Tianjian was sealed to secretly observe, and saw that there were already quite a few immortal disciples around the sword pit, probably waiting for the day the seal loosened to seize the sword. Xiao Zhong waved his hand, and I received the order and rushed out, shouting loudly, "Everyone put down your weapons. You are surrounded." The whole arena fell silent. "Xiao Zhong, I mean go. Then you say it straight out." But it was too late, several disciples of the Xianmen sect recognized me. "Junior sister Yu Bai. You are still alive. Junior sister Yu Bai, were you forced? Don't be afraid. The senior brothers will save you. Devil, let my junior sister go." They rushed in. Xiao Zhong stood behind me, raised his hand, and immediately formed a seal to block them outside the magic formation. He curled his lips, looked at me, and said, "I'll give you a chance to leave." Before he could finish speaking, I hugged his waist tightly, hug. Taking advantage of the situation, I am a person who acts by appearances, just hug the most beautiful person. Xiao Zhong chuckled, hugged me and formed a hand seal. In the blink of an eye, we appeared in the human market. I lowered my head to look. Xiao Zhong was still holding my hand, seemingly with no intention of letting go. I was dragged by him to stroll around the market. When we reached a hidden corner, he suddenly stopped. "They are chasing after me." He let me go. "You wait here for me, I will be back soon." After speaking, Xiao Zhong disappeared on the spot. A few minutes later, looking at the dozen or so disciples of the Xianmen sect in front of me, I felt a bit complicated. The leading man had sword eyebrows, bright eyes, and looked at me worriedly. "Don't worry, junior sister, that devil was lured away by us. Yunlan said that she saw you enslaved in the demon palace." The senior brothers were all very angry. I looked at the natural halo radiating from behind him, feeling uneasy. "Who are you?" That person was surprised. The person beside him quickly said, "Junior sister Yu Bai, this is senior brother." "It really is you, the male protagonist who defies the heavens, Changfeng." The main character's halo was so dazzling, it made me cry. Changfeng grabbed my hand. "Junior sister, don't cry, now no one can bully you anymore." After saying that, regardless of everything, he pulled me back to the Xianmen sect. I don't like the Xianmen sect. Why? I still have to ask why. The food here is so bland that it's disgusting. I have to wake up at 5 a.m., I have to go to bed at 9 p.m. More importantly, everyone is wearing modest clothes, I can't see any abs. I've been sleeping in the same bed with Xiao Zhong for a long time, I can't sleep without feeling his abs. I don't know if he's looking for me, probably not, he's probably looking for his cat. Sigh, so jealous. Anyway, I can't sleep, I'm in cat form now, so I jumped onto the roof of the sect master's house. Today, I saw a mirror in his room and it can project images, so I tried looking. I crept into the secret room in his room. The mirror was covered by a green cloth. I used my claws to pull it open, and saw 3 words engraved on the mirror, Qianchen mirror. I remembered, it was described in the book. Xianmen sect has a magic treasure called a Qianchen mirror, which can see other people's past. I entered Xiao Zhong's name, the mirror's surface flashed, revealing the image of a little beggar. Snow was falling heavily, the little beggar's clothes were in tatters, fighting with a fierce dog, surrounded by a group of people clapping and laughing. The little beggar finally won, snatched half a bun from the dog's mouth, and hurriedly ran into the ruined temple. In the corner of the temple, there was a little girl huddled, her face pale, shivering from the cold, holding a skinny white cat in her arms. The little beggar immediately hugged her, bringing the bun to her mouth. "Little sister, big brother brought you food, wake up quickly." The little girl whispered, "Big brother, eat by yourself, I'm so sleepy." "Don't sleep. I'll go find a doctor for you, I'll go right now." The little beggar staggered out, but was stopped outside the medical clinic. The waiter said while chewing on melon seeds, "I don't think your little sister can be saved anymore, I have some medicine residue, do you need it?" "Need it. I need it." The little beggar kowtowed to the waiter several times, his head bleeding, before he could exchange it for a bowl of medicine dregs. But when he returned to the temple with the bowl of medicine, he smelled a strong aroma of meat in front of the door. A group of beggars were lighting a fire in front of the temple, not knowing what kind of meat they were cooking. The little beggar ran inside and found that his younger sister had disappeared, and the cat was gone, but his younger sister's clothes were still stained with blood and were thrown by the well, with a cat's skin beside them. The little beggar charged towards the group of people like crazy. I couldn't continue reading the rest. I only saw that in the end, the little beggar, in the snowy winter sky, sacrificed himself to all the vengeful spirits in the world. I want to become the most evil person in the world. I want no one to dare to look down on me again. It turns out that the devil wasn't a devil from the start. It turns out that people's hearts aren't born evil. After reading, I stood on the roof, my heart filled with 1,000 thoughts. Wanted to hug Xiaozhong so much, this time didn't touch his abs, just hugged him. Suddenly, the sex alarm bell rang, someone shouted loudly, "The demon lord is attacking." I saw that person wearing red clothes, black hair flying in the wind, arrogantly waving his hand and sending several disciples flying. The sect leader holding a magic weapon stood at the front, Xiaozhong. "Don't push people too far." Xiaozhong coldly looked at him, "Give me back my cat." "What cat?" "Meow." I was dancing on the roof, trying my best to attract attention. Finally Xiaozhong saw me, just slightly raised his hand, I was immediately hugged by him. I rolled around in his arms, rubbing. Sticking tightly. I returned to the inn with Xiaozhong, and only then did I discover that he was injured. That's right, the Xianmen sect has 72 mountain gates, and he rushed through them one by one, so he couldn't help but be injured. He sat on the bed to regulate his breathing, and I lay in his arms, stepping on him. I accidentally fell asleep again, and when I woke up the next morning, I was a living person, naked, lying in Xiaozhong's arms. Once born twice, I got used to it, so this time I wasn't panicked, and just lazily turned over. Anyway, Xiaozhong woke up late, so I slept a little longer. It seemed like he had woken up, and his hands were still playing around. I grabbed Xiaozhong's hand, my face red, and I stammered, that. I was sleepwalking, I hope you'll forgive me. After saying that, I was about to sit up, but Xiaozhong pulled me back, my lips touching his, so he took the opportunity to kiss me. I only felt my body temperature rise. So I kissed back. Xiaozhong looked at me. I blurted out, "There's no other way, I'm a pervert." He chuckled, pulled the blanket over us, and whispered in my ear, "Then let me see how perverted you are. You made me, a pervert, lose face." Only later did I realize that when I was sent back to the Xianmen sect in human form, Xiaozhong said he was looking for a cat. Didn't he already know that the cat was me? How exciting. Xiaozhong recuperated for half a month. When he recovered, the seal of the Han Tianjian was finally broken. Xiaozhong's aura was so strong, no one in the immortal sects dared to come forward. I stood by and clapped my hands. As long as Xiaozhong got the sword, I could return with him. Then I touched my abs every day, giggling. But I didn't expect that. As soon as Xiaozhong touched the sword, he was burned by the sword energy. The male lead Changfeng immediately stepped forward, grabbed the hilt of the sword, and the Han Tianjian automatically recognized its owner. Damn it, doesn't the main character's halo know any reason? Xiaozhong and Changfeng exchanged a few moves. Xiaozhong initially had the upper hand, but for some reason the demonic energy suddenly weakened. Changfeng took the opportunity to stab him in the side with a sword. Xiaozhong. Xiaozhong looked at me from afar. I recognized his mouth shape. Run. The immortal sects seemed to have prepared. They took out their magic weapons and surrounded Xiaozhong. Devil, you're going to die today. If it weren't for the help of the experts, we wouldn't even know your weak point is in your side. I rushed forward in panic, but was blocked out of the encirclement by their sword energy. Why? Why did Xiaozhong suddenly become weak? Where did the problem lie? I suddenly thought of something, system. No one answered me. Sure enough, the system had lied to me. It said that my seal on the Han Tianjian was about to loosen, and deliberately told me to lead Xiaozhong out, and also told the immortal sect about Xiaozhong's weak point, so that they could join forces to attack. If Xiaozhong remained in the demon palace, even if the immortal sect obtained the Han Tianjian, it would take at least a year and a half before they could attack. In order to quickly complete the plot, the system cheated. Damn it. Come out and take the scolding. Fortunately, my body still had cultivation. I formed a hand seal to block the sword energy, and walked towards Changfeng, eldest senior brother. Please stop. Changfeng didn't care at all, junior sister. You're crazy. Even the sect master scolded me, 5 Moon White. You're begging for mercy for the devil. Are you someone who can't tell right from wrong? I tried to hold on to Chongfeng's hand tightly, looking at Xiaozhong word by word. I am not originally a person of this world. I don't understand what is right and wrong. I don't have the so-called chivalry in my heart. I only know that whoever is good to me, I will return it 1,000 times. It's just true love for true love. Xiaozhong looked at me blankly. I turned to Changfeng, eldest senior brother. I'll ask you one more time, will you back down? Changfeng coldly said, absolutely not back down. I nodded, then quickly bent down to pull Changfeng's pants. Changfeng was surprised and took 2 steps back. I quickly pulled Xiaozhong and ran away. Thinking about how there were many female cultivators there, suddenly a bit of guilt towards the male lead appeared in my heart. Sorry, I was born a pervert, I'm very sorry. I brought Xiaozhong back to the demon palace, and saw that he was only hit by a sword in the side, nothing serious, but unexpectedly, his body gradually became transparent. I was immediately shocked. Xiaozhong smiled faintly, it's over. What do you mean? He reached out to hug my neck, kissed my lips, and gently stroked my lips with his thumb. I have done many evil things, I'm not sure if there will be a next life. If there is, I will go find you. After speaking, Xiaozhong disappeared. I only felt my mind go blank. Only then did the system appear. The Han Tianjian is his natural curse, his side is his fatal point, it broke his cultivation method, he can no longer be saved. Don't be so quick to curse, host, think about it, isn't this great? You can return home, aren't you happy? I took a deep breath, help me think of a way, otherwise I will complain to you. System. I'll complain to you once, your achievements in this world will be completely destroyed, I'll give you 3 seconds to think, 3, 2. Can't I say it? Xiaozhong is not a human, he is the resentment of the world transformed, as long as he has one breath, he will not disappear. I've checked, a trace of resentment has escaped into reincarnation, the 13th year of Heavenly Tao, at the Shao family in Jinyuya town, Jiangnan, you go find it yourself. That was the following year. Before shutting down the system, it asked me a question, host, are you sure you won't come back? I was stunned, if you don't come back, the place where my heart is at peace, is my hometown. The 13th year of the Heavenly Tao. This year, I traveled all over the human world, and everywhere I heard that the demonic path was in decline. Now, all the immortal sects were flourishing. As long as they were children with some foundation, they were sent to the immortal sects to become disciples and cultivate. The immortal sects of all sects take the Xianmen sect as the leader. The sect leader Changfeng is a once-in-a-century genius. Since the extermination of the demon lord last year, he has also formed a Taoist partner with the Baiqing sect's true disciple Ling Yunlan, which has made people admire him greatly. I heard that cultivation not only helps one become immortal, but also purifies the spirit sea, and even fools become ordinary people. It was the Shao family at the end of town who said it again, right? How did you know? That family's son was originally a fool. Later, he was sent to the Xianmen sect to be an outer sect disciple. After the new year this year, he suddenly became normal. But he directly withdrew from the mountain gate and returned home, muttering that cultivating immortality is not as good as becoming a demon. I think he was taken over by a demon. You can't just say this casually. I put down my teacup and patted the person who was chatting on the shoulder. Excuse me, how do you get to the Shao family you're talking about? Just go out and turn left, go straight, the last house is there. That person sized me up from top to bottom. Miss, I advise you not to go, that family's son is really a bit evil. I smiled, it's okay, I'm just here to exorcise the demons. It was March, the peach blossoms were in full bloom. I sat on the wall and saw a young man in red clothes and black hair flying in the Shao family's courtyard. I threw a handful of peach blossom petals onto his shoulder. When he looked over, I whistled and said in a flirtatious voice, pretty young man, do you have abs? Let me see. He reached out his hand towards me, I jumped down, and was immediately hugged tightly by him. I've been waiting for you for a long time. In the 14th year of the heavenly Tao, we settled in a small city in the north. Xiao Zhong counted down the time every day, and finally one day, in a ruined temple, he saw that dirty little girl. He stood in front of the little girl, his voice a little choked. She died a tragic death at that time, she couldn't make it through the cycle of reincarnation. I passed by and saw her still lingering in the river of forgetfulness, then I dragged her along. This girl, why is she still a little beggar? I sighed, because her fate is too miserable. Xiao Zhong sat down in front of the little girl. Do you want to go home with me? Her eyes lit up. Big brother? You recognize me? The big brother in my dreams, he looks exactly like you. The little girl looked at me again. Who are you? I snorted arrogantly, I am your sister-in-law. I called the system again after half a month. I really couldn't stand it anymore. System, quickly take back my perverted skill. The system finally responded after a long time. Sorry, it's been too long. May I ask who you are? I gritted my teeth. Pervert. That pervert. I endured. Host wants to give up the skill? Once you give up, you can't regret it. Yes. Give it up. Quickly take it away from me. I had really had enough of being a human during the day and a cat at night. The night was quiet, everything was quiet, and I was a cat. I could only touch my abs, I couldn't do anything else. This was no different from killing me. For my normal life, it was good not to be a pervert. After signing the agreement with the system, I felt my body lighter. When I got home that night, I saw that Xiao Zhong still hadn't returned. I waited for a long time, and he finally returned before sunset. He was still holding a bamboo cat nest in his hand. Look, this cat nest was made for you. He seemed very eager. You try it quickly. Me? So, in the end, does he like me or cats? I told him that I would no longer turn into a cat. He was stunned for a moment, then his eyes immediately lit up. He held me on the bed, the corner of his mouth smiling. It's already dark. I swallowed a mouthful of saliva. The thing is, the nest you made probably can't be used anymore. It's okay, children can use it too. It seemed to make sense. End.